Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Mask of the Rose. A few things we want to do. I actually might go and talk to Mr. Pages. I want to talk to him about the Rubbery Man. We go to Patachikan first. Well, that's what I want to do, definitely. We're not going to do that. Is my rat theory not ready to hand in then? It says it is. Let's do Patachikan first. Take it to see Pages. Their conversation will probably be interesting. This'll do. Patachikan burbles a greeting. He wiggles his tentacles with nervous anticipation. Ask him if he's ready to meet Mr. Pages. Are you ready? He makes a lonely warble. I think he misses Barkjin's constant presence. This is followed by forlorn trumpeting noise. It indicates that he suspects she's stealing his idea to set up shop. Oh, it's a very specific suggestion. Perhaps he knows more about her current whereabouts than he is saying, but he gives no further indication. He makes a resolute honk. There's no concern of his. Wherever she is, he wonders where that might be. I could try to find her. But Patachikan makes a noise that indicates he has no idea who I'm referring to. A further honk indicates he is certain that she is trying to prove she can manage on her own without him. Oh goodness. A disdainful hoot suggests that he would not be surprised if she were copying his ideas of entering the merchant's trade. A final derisive warble suggests she will be bullying some hapless shopkeeper even as we speak. New goal of reconciling them, okay. No one speaks for a moment. Are we going to go and see Mr. Pages? Time to run another errand, so I presume I click on Pages now, do I? And we'll end up there? No. Oh, Patachikan. Okay, well, we'll look into reuniting them then. Do rat thing tomorrow. Hello there. Look for Barkjin. I hear the sound of cursing emerging from somewhere in the stall. I do not have to look far to locate the source. I don't want a critique from the sidelines, my love, but crinoline should never be handled like that. Oh, why do Londoners insist on such flimsy materials? You cannot say it is for the weather. Even in Karakorum, we knew of your island that the sun had never laid eyes upon. I don't know. We're all down here now, ain't we? And you're in my employ, so I suggest you learn your crinoline from your plimp souls. Only if I can use your parasol to skewer another customer who talks back. Oh, it's you. Are you well? How are you keeping? Oh, excessively well. Here I am, pairing disagreeable hats with disagreeable customers. Furnishing Ivy here with my knowledge of linens, lacquer, silks, and sharp implements. I've told her 1,000 times, all I need's a sharp tongue and a sharper eye. Ladies these days can kill with a word, or I suppose a hatpin, if push really comes to shove. Well, she was an ingrate deserving being coated in honey and roasted over a slow flame. She's also been filling me in on some of what they got up to in the last city. Roses and silken webs and copper fires in the dark. Give me a few notions for sure. I'm glad my previous career can have benefits still. Anyway, as you can see, I am exceedingly busy. I have no time to discuss the past, and any foolish associations I may have entertained for far too long. Perhaps I can reconcile her with her friend. ask if she would consider reconciling. I wish you'd reconcile. And I wish I were the wife of Prester John. If Patachikan wished to reconcile, he can squelch his way up here himself. No, I haven't the faintest interest in how he fares, and I am certain it will all end in disaster without me. So be sure to tell him no such thing. Now, do excuse me. Actual work to be done. There's a brief lull in the conversation. There was a mother who came to me to confess about the death of her baby. I can listen. Go on. Well, the deed was done, and peckish work it was, but there's still not a belly timber in the house. What? A belly timber. Oh no, they're going to eat her baby. She's going to eat her own baby. Alright, get it off your chest, I suppose. It's alright, put it out. I asked her what she did with the body. Got a nice casket for her or the like. How she said it was. I already learned to roast a cat. I can see in her eye that it somehow gets worse. And then David Landau returned from the boat with all his teeth and hair. But a person making that return with the choice cuts a peck missed out. The spectacle isn't a gladsome sight to the mum's eye. Be that how it may, Alamus alone was not enough for that woman. We had to take the memory out clean, which is a matter I'd not have known to do above. But the crone who runs the urchin gang in these parts, she knows things. She was here before London fell. And I say, down here you take what advice you can. Thank you for trusting me. That's a horrible story. Gotta put a thing down somewhere. Talk about things that interest her. All of Ivy's secrets belonged originally to someone else. Some are confessions, told her by Neath dwellers who could no longer endure the burden. Some are shameful memories or embarrassing dreams or the acknowledgement of a past crime. She doesn't tell me the substance of what she knows, but she gives me an inventory by type and style and length. No shopkeeper could be prouder about her wares or more precise about their origin and quality. Ah, well, top her home for me. Fine. Feeling stronger than ever. Whatever. Horatia is going to be setting up the food. I guess we go straight to the table. Interesting to see if there's any more dialogue coming, or if that's it. Yeah, that's it. Help her out. Was that 5 days left on the morrow? Five days left. Grizz leaves me the newspaper after she's read everything of political import. The headlines today read, Vatican encyclical lapsus Londinensis affirms support to all children of God. Rebukes Anglican Church for abandoning flock. Confirms that devils are enemy of the church. Again, we don't need to interview Ivy about Milton because he's already confessed and he's ready to talk and ready to admit it. I might talk to Rachel about him though, because his motivation is still somewhat patchy, I think. I'd like to get that properly nailed down before presenting it to Hardjet. I might speak to Ferret about the rats, because I'm wondering if that'll open up more discussion there. Let's follow this Patachikan stuff. Let's look into reuniting them, and then maybe he'll come up and see Mr. Pages. I don't know. Or maybe he'll abandon the idea. It's interesting, because we didn't see any of this storyline, really, with his stuff in the first playthrough. There just wasn't time, so I'm enjoying exploring it. Tell Patachikan I found Barkjin. I met Barkjin. She's working in London at a shop. Patachikan makes a hoot of interest, followed by the honks of indifference. Persuade him to reconcile with her. He makes a wheezing hoot. This is followed by a single, lonely warble. I think he might mean that he does not imagine she will agree. But if she is sincere and contrite, he is not a rubbery prone to grudges. For a moment, no one speaks. Considers whether there's anything to add. He hoots. We should be friends. I like Batachi-kan. I grin. Just manage another errand. I wonder if we go back to the marketplace that they're going to meet there. Let's have a look. Okay, we'll follow this. Hopefully it's something different and not just the same as it was before. We look fine. We're always fine. Me and Algie. BFFs. Good Yule, Hateslove. I trust the Neath isn't treating you too badly. Tell Barkchin what Batachi-kan said. I think he would like you back. Oh? And I have no occupation of my own, do I? No urgent business at my shop? At which I am now, I assure you, utterly integral? Or integral? No, I could not possibly conceive of returning. Thing is, I imagine, if I pick this, I'd imagine it would be like kind of like a reverse psychology thing. But I don't. If it's sincere, it would be detrimental to bring it back. I'm gonna assume we're gonna try a bit of reverse psychology. Well, I suppose he shall have to manage then. Yes, he shall. All on his own with his foolish scheme, which, without assistance, preferably mine, is doomed from the outset. Perhaps, as you've insisted so persistently, I could be present when you go to Pages. Only as a great favour, of course. Tell him I shall see him at the Khan Pages' abode. Sweet, we did it. It was reverse psychology and it worked. Anything to add? I can see a customer. I intend to harangue him until he purchases something. You should go. I grow weary of searching for excuses why you should still be here. I do like Barkchin. I don't know why I can't decide that. By now, Horatio will be wondering where I am. Straight to table, probably no discussion. That's fine. Yeah, I think I upset her with telling her I didn't really care whether she leaves the house or not. I guess I kind of wanted to say that I took it to mean that I didn't feel any less of her because of it, but maybe I should have. It did sound a bit rude the way he said it. I'm first in the morning paper. The headlines today read, "Inventor proposes building a balloon to visit whatever is above." I get the feeling they're enclosed. I don't think there's just like a big hole above. I could be wrong. Right. Can we go to Pages now? Do we have to go back? We might have to go back down here. Okay, let's try this now. And maybe we'll all go there together. He wiggles his tentacles with nervous anticipation. Asks Batachi-kan if he's ready to meet Mr. Pages. He makes a cheerful warble. He's as ready as he ever means to be. Huzzah. all my favourite characters gathered in one place.
I am informated of a familiar visitation. I hope it will not be like that ghastly novel, where the miser is inflicted with spirits, each more discrimonious than the last.
Batachi-kan makes a shy warble. It conveys a sense of distant acquaintance, cautiously renewed.
Ah, the ententacled ones. I had not thought to see you again.
Greetings, Khan of Scriveners.
I do not remember you, though I resentment your attire, your appearance. We had thought you were all fled, or...
Dead? The bazaar saw to that, our leaders the rest. But I bear only minimal grudges. I intend to move forwards. And this new city is full of opportunity, do you not agree?
Entirely so. We have high hopes for this one. We hope better than the last. The past resurfaces in the most unexpectual ways. I hope the stitchments of past and present will not cause undue ruptitudes.
Proudly present Batachikan and Barkjin to Mr. Pages. This is my most esteemed friend, Batachikan of the Many Tentacles. I believe I reflect well upon him. This is Barkjin of the First Scriptoria of the Fourth City. And many accomplishments besides. Batachikan makes a trilling honk that seems to indicate that he is a rubbery man par excellence.
I should have memorialized such an upstanding rubbery man. He seems much advanced in comparison to my remembrances. As for this Barkjin, we remember her. You were not fondly beloved by your leaders. I hope you do not mean to cause trouble.
That will depend on the manner of your answer. Batachikan gestures wildly, and many orifices produce plancent warbles. The cacophony is loud, but the sense is clear. Batachikan requests not an introduction, but a license. The warbling continues.
A magisterial cacophony. I only wish I could understand it.
The desire takes shape in oozing syllables. Commerce, a license to trade. A shop of its own to trade from. The warbling ceases. Batachikan gives you an expectant look. Wait. Allow me to translate, please. I can understand the sense of it, and I have centuries of practice. My comprehension will be the more exact of the two of us. Of course. The floor is yours, Barkjin. Thank you. Batachikan makes a nervous honk. Great Khan, revered bibliophile, scribe superlative.
It is delicious to hear these old epithetments intoned.
What my friend is trying to say is... Batachikan emits a sudden, nervous honk. We request a commercial license, a trader's license, I believe you call it, with authority to trade, import, broker, and manufacture. Our niche is yet to be decided, but we imagine a milliners of Eastern fabrics and actually fashionable clothing with a rubbery flair. If it please you, most imposing of scriveners. Pages looks at me as though considering the request.
The Master's outlawed charity, you know. Despite the evident excitables around the proposalment, I can see many flaws, obstacles, and errors. Commerce grows slowly, the economy not yet stabilized. To allow competition into such a fragile econology could prove disastrous. It is with a full heart I must decline, but it seems prudent that a more managed rapprochement between Rubbery and Londoner must begin. And with you here already as an embassy, I believe the process may begin. I shall send clerks to bedevil you shortly. A capricious day to you all.
That went, I will not gloat. I feared the answer would be no. I am sorry I was not more persuasive. Batachikan makes an anguished honk. There is determination in his tone, but there is no blame. We will return to the Warrens for now. I will be needed at the shop again, but my employer can manage without me. Just, I am needed elsewhere. And this duty is more important. We will see you soon, I hope. One more errand today. Okay, well, we got that to a resolution, so that's fine. Yeah, we can't go there again right now, at least. I might go and talk to Ferret about rats, because I can't... I'm sure that the accused is going to be Archie, right? I can't see that being what we want to do. I think I'm gonna talk to Ferret and see what he comes up with. Algernon is game for the visit. Let's do it.
Don't mind me if I just feed a bit of cheese to your hat there. Afraid we're out of the Sardinian, so Algie will have to make do with cheddar.
Lay out my story about rats finding a teacher. Oh, okay. I lay out the beginnings of my story, how the rats might have been trained and converted long ago.
Now, Algernon tells me that the rats might already have a dose of religion, which might be enough to give us an in. Well,
as silly as it sounds, when Westminster School fell with me in it, it was washed out to sea. I found myself clinging to a school desk and subsisting on chalk. But far below the water I saw a glow, like gold beneath the waves. I thought I spied a man, much too large. He held a goldsmith's lens and a tail he waved me on. I thought it a dream, as one has when on the verge of death.
frankly, I don't suppose this saint introduced himself.
No.
Seems as he might have better manners.
The rules of ordinary etiquette are famously inapplicable to holy men.
Much as I hate to bother a man busy bothering God, might be that the vicar's our next best bet.
Silence falls. Yes, okay, so now has that kind of opened up an avenue with the vicar. Have a good afternoon.
Let's see your pockets before you go then. Not nicked anything you shouldn't have done. Yeah, very well. Can't be too careful in these parts.
Maybe I've been too quick to dislike Ferret. My face betrays my feelings. We go back to Horatius. Okay, so we're going to visit the vicar on the morrow. Outcome, dwells underwater. Maybe we change the story then in the morning. Oh. Archie's trial is scheduled in a few days' time. If there's anything you had to tell me about it, you have 3 full days left to do so.
Further evidence against our friend?
Or further alibis.
You're intruding on our supper.
Tell him I found a solution and I will bring it soon. I've worked out the truth. I'll bring it to you. You know where to find me.
Yeah, this would not be necessary if he'd given us a warning. Archie could have gone into hiding. There are ways under the city or within it.
I agree with Horatia. Harjit knows them better than anyone.
I have no patience. Coming here, putting the responsibility on us. If he has a bad conscience, let him repair the damage himself.
Alright, we'll help her clear up. Alright. Let's actually review the day in my journal, because it will give us my goals still, haven't I? So we can take Algernon to see Theophilus, yes. That's the same. Oh, the accused meaning Phoebe. Oh, we do need to do that. I'd forgotten about that. Okay. Not so worried about those ones. Right, yeah. Okay, so Theophilus is definitely our next port of call then. Hopefully we can cover both those off in the same slot. We'll see. I wish the thing had just said Phoebe instead of the accused. It should have done, because I'd completely forgotten that we'd said we'd do that. As usual, I resort to the morning papers. The headlines today read, "The Master's new Fist of the Bazaar hired amid billiard hall scandal." No idea what that is. Alright, so let's shoot straight on out, and we're going to go up to the church. Let's talk about Phoebe first, because that is related to the murder, so it's a little more pressing, because we'll need to go back to her as well and say that it's fine, I'm sure. And it might lead to other stuff. That was fine. I find Theophilus polishing the church silver. Simply ask about pastoral care for the murderer. I'm facing a difficult situation. Harjit has suggested I help identify the person who killed David Landau, whether or not that really was Archie. But if I do that, someone might be hanged or imprisoned for life. I'd want that person to have help if the murder wasn't intended, or if it wasn't as it appeared. It's the sort of thing a pastor ought to help with. At the moment, I am of little use to anyone in that part of my vocation. Is there anything amiss? Horatia mentioned that you changed the direction of your sermons, that you were calling for the parish to fling itself into good works with wild abandon. Really, there's no cause for alarm. Throughout the ages, the Church has heard the clarion call for renewal, and change begins at the doorstep. Maybe he's being a bit overzealous? I suspect you might be having the opposite effect. I wish to show an alternate and practical theology, one that won't be destroyed by a mere doctrinal doubt. Really, you are worse than those ladies vying to be my housekeeper. What isn't he telling us? Does this involve your own soul? After the fall, I believed myself judged and damned, and I accepted it. I thought I would never see my wife and child again, even in heaven, and I bent to that divine justice. But then we received news from above. This is not hell. The surface is merely above us. What can a soul matter in the midst of that cosmic joke? What sort of god would do such a thing, or allow it to be done? I gave in to despair. I walked into that old valley and did not emerge. I thought, if there were a god, and if he were such a cackling fiend as now appeared, then he deserved for me to treat my soul with disregard, as he had treated me. I went to Milton, of course. I attended his salon and made him the offer afterward. But now... Why Milton? He's certainly charming. The female I would not have contemplated. Milton and I discussed poetry. He reminded me I was not the first to feel these things. Before, of course, he took my soul. If Anne were alive, I would never have succumbed. She was like the ballast of a ship, never permitting me to go to extremes of feeling. Everything has changed, and yet nothing has. I ought to be dead without a soul. Yet I walk. I persist. I feel scarcely different, except now I know that I am a fool. My soul is in Milton's keeping now. Could you ask for it back? Sure, and we'll boast as well. Always take the opportunity to boast. You couldn't have picked a better person to ask. Indeed, we've been fortunate in the inhabitants of our parish. I believe not every congregation has such an impressive membership. Lord bless you and keep you. I don't need to warn you of the consequences of traffic with the infernal. I pray you can remedy my stupid mistake. Okay. Another errand, so we can't do both. But maybe we should do the Milton thing first and then go back to him. We're all done with that now, I think, that one. Yeah, we've kind of narrowed down the stuff I actually feel we still kind of need to do. So let's go see Milton. I'll put the Devil's Tuning fork on. This must be suitable wherever we go, I feel. Okay. The fork has an alluring menace about it. Most likely no one will expect me to exchange news of the day. Okay. Well, we look magnificent as always.
Hello. To what do I owe the pleasure?
I understand that you took the vicar's soul.
A moment. This is not a negotiation for me alone.
I explain my business here a second time.
The priest gave his soul willingly. We did not have to ask. Even Virginia has to ask, ordinarily.
He ranted and railed about... What was it, Milton?
The indifference of an uncaring creator, who condemned his subjects to an existence without meaning.
We devils have some experience there.
He did not appreciate the comparison.
Okay. So it was cruel to accept. It was cruel of you to take his soul when he was in such despair. It would have been much less interesting to take it under any other circumstance.
The abstraction was successful. He would have experienced it as a sleep.
A cessation, though impermanent.
An interregnum?
Perhaps, though like the prince's, it will not return.
Which is to say, his soul remains among our possessions.
We promise to repay them somehow in the future. I'll owe you a favour if you tell me. Whatever you wish to collect. Oh, delicious! I promise to hold you to it.
Very well. We're not generally in the business of returning souls. Why do you even want it?
Make fun of the question. I'm sure you'd like to know.
Be sure you know the answer, even if you won't tell me. When you do things without knowing why, that's when the trouble comes in. Virginia, would you entertain our guest? I shall only be a moment.
He produces a bottle, azure blue, in which something bobs, pale as a ghost.
The soul of one Theophilus, abstracted and now returned.
It is not to be imbibed.
Proximity and affinity will suffice for its restoration. Now, unless there is anything else.
What about my own soul? Do you find my soul more interesting?
Alas, its constituent elements might be described as twined with the fibres of life, blent with body and soul.
Given said life is yours, it cannot account to much. Oh dear, they don't even want it.
London so small, I feel sure we'll meet again, Hadeslove.
In court, for sure. Ooh, time's going quick now. Yeah, okay. I think we'll do one more day. We want to get Polly kind of squared away, I think, and then we'll just see how much time we have left after that. I don't think we're going to get to the ratty rats, unfortunately. I mean, Algie is being very patient, but with what? 2 days left, so it's basically today, and then the day after I've got to go and present my theory to Harjit. Headlines read, Initial exploration of sunken parliament retrieves prelapsarian artifacts, speaker's mace, jubilee crockery, ministerial remains, pig, deceased. Okay. Anyone who knows much about British politics over the past probably 10 years or so would, I think, get the reference that they're making there. I'm not gonna voice it here though. Okay, so we go back to Theophilus, obviously. Never did get anything to do with the sunken parliament. I don't really know. It's I'll tell you what though. Maybe it's a way to get to the rubbery men if we haven't done so via other means. It's possible. So we've basically got 2 more actions, and that's about it. Let's return his soul. And then hopefully we can tell Phoebe that she'll be alright. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I find Theophilus reviewing the notes of his sermon. Make a point of not losing it again. I was able to find something you're missing. I might not be able to do the same again, so I recommend being more careful this time. Oh, but what can this be? It looks almost botanical, sloshing about behind coloured glass. This cannot be my soul. What were you expecting? Did you expect the intangible? Ezekiel, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. And Matthew instructs us, fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. But also, verbum caro factum est, the Spirit is the Word, which is God made flesh. I suppose I am amazed to see anything at all. It is pale, almost translucent. This bottle is a fine example of the glazier's art, as though to contain something precious or expensive. There was a fork involved. I do not recall the details. There are no incisions upon my body. Unlike our Lord, I remain intact. Could it be my soul? Attempt to elucidate the infernal discipline. They call the process abstraction. Perhaps the clue is in the name? To render metaphor truth, which is the task of Scripture alone if one believes the reformists. But if it is my true soul, I should not draw breath. This is not hell, though we lie in its shadow, and neither of us are dead. No, I cannot believe this pallid thing is my soul. I feel... Wait. The contract. Lord Jesus, forgive me, but I signed one of their contracts. I am loath to ask for further assistance, but I dare not leave them with any avenue. Perhaps it might explain the mystery of this thing they have sent back to me. Reacting credulously. I don't think I've got the time for this, mate. You signed something without reading it? In my haste, I did not. Beyond sign here, which of course it did not say. I was shown the line and handed a pen. I barely glanced at the page. I was so eager to have it done. I have imposed already, but I need to know what this means, so I can reckon my standing with the Almighty. Agree, but with a lot of complaining. Again? You want me to return to that townhouse another time and argue with the devils all over again? Do you know what the first bout cost me? Oh, I know it is a great deal to ask, and make whatever bargains they insist on this time. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think of it when we spoke first. I should have given you a more thorough description of the event. Is there anything else you're forgetting now? Oh, I don't believe so. God bless you and keep you. If he still can. I shall continue my duties in the meantime. There seems little point in stopping now. Goodness me. I don't know if we're going to get to the end of this then, because we have at most 2 more time slots. So we go and get this. God, and if they ask me to do something else, I mean, we're out of time. Then I'm back to him, but then I've got to go back to Phoebe. I don't know, I think we've run out of time. Which is my own fault, but hopefully we can get through the trial anyway.
Hello? To what do I owe the honour?
Blandly put the request about the contract. Theophilus would like to see the contract he signed.
Wait a moment.
I explained my business here a second time. Further impositions? I understand in the priest's hierarchy of the cosmos we are inferior, but let me make it quite clear, his view of the world is wrong. We are the superior.
You're going to a lot of trouble for this sorry specimen of a cleric. What do you have to offer this time? We've entirely fulfilled the terms of your initial request. One soul, singular, formerly belonging to the individual mortal known as Withenwick, Theophilus.
Really? If you'd wanted the contract too, you should have asked.
In the stories, wishes come in threes.
I suppose we might entertain the request, if given proper incentive to do so, of course.
We have been lenient once, twice, smacks of charity.
I'll pay them back sometime in the future. I'll owe you a favour if you tell me. Whatever you wish to collect. Oh, delicious! I promise to hold you to it.
I believe this will suffice. Pray excuse me. I shall only be an instant.
If you're expecting me to engage in small conversation now we're alone, prepare for disappointment. The brass clock on the mantel records each tortuous second. Endure.
Here we are, the contract written on goatskin vellum and affixed with the proper seals and sigils. I've added a clause restoring Theophilus as the legal owner of his soul. The brief interregnum in which I possessed his soul will, I'm afraid, be recorded in hell for the rest of time.
The parchment is crisp and still warm, as though it has recently known flame. The letters are spiky, as though resisting containment. They shift before my eyes, and the pages feel hotter, the ligaments running on the parchment as though molten. The ink blisters on the goatskin. The words are written in another incandescent alphabet, the meaning impenetrable even were they not on fire. You will, of course, need the contents summarized. It is impossible for a simple mortal to comprehend. It is written in the correspondence, which would burn your simple mind to a blackened husk. I imagine this would be a loss to you, even if not to the storehouse of the Neath's knowledge. Ask for an explanation. But what does it say?
Oh, let us cease this torment, Virginia.
Oh, very well. With this one, it feels more like charity than a sport, anyway.
The truth that the document lays bare is this. The vicar's soul is of below average quality, neither interestingly faceted nor possessed of any singular clarity. Its value for the discerning collector or its currency is limited. It is dull and colourless, its emotive scars predictable, grief, solace, the tepid consolations of acceptance in the aftermath, except it has been coloured most excitingly by the depths of despair inflicted upon it. As though fired in a single moment, the glass forever marked by the moment of conflagration in the glazier's shop. The about face has rendered the soul unusual. It is a curiosity that carries value. I doubt Theophilus would understand, or care to understand, this assessment. The contract restores ownership to him. He may do with it as he wills.
Hell does not offer second chances. Nearly time for supper. Alright, straight to the table then.
There isn't much time left before Archie's trial. 1 day left. I wish we'd found a way to break him out.
Say I know the guilty party, and we'll let Harjit know in the morning. I've discovered who is really to blame. I intend to tell Harjit as much.
If you say so, but I rely on you not to let this go wrong. Good of you, friend.
Alright, straight to sleep. So, morning Vicar, then Harjit. Who shouldn't count as an errand. But I don't think there's a way for us to do 2 errands. And then Harjit. Grizz leaves me the newspaper after she's read everything of political import. Headlines read, "Come see Tristram Bagley's newest opera. Witness the rise of a prodigy." Alright, we're going to do a story first. Yeah, we can't do the rat thing anymore. I think we just ran out of time on it. I'm just going to leave it there. Maybe this one. Maybe he just pretended not to know anything about it. Alright. Okay, let's go and see Theophilus then, if we can. I'm sorry, Algie, we couldn't do your thing, we didn't have time, but we did quite a lot. We did quite a lot. I find Theophilus at his prayers. Give him the contract. Now we come to it. The devil's own handiwork. And there my own. My soul sold, anyway, I hear the undersigned. He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the contract. Ask him to prepare himself. For what, I don't know. Are you sure you want to know what's in it? I must be. After all, the worst has already occurred. I cannot read this. How stupid of me to expect that this answered anything. I don't suppose the devils did us the courtesy of explaining it. Attempt to soften what the devils said. It is a matter of your soul. Your crisis attracted them. Like vultures to carrion. You need not soften the truth of it. I gave them what they wanted of my own volition. Now I have it back. They evidently did not like it enough to keep it. In defiance of all I know of hell, temporary damnation does not follow scripture. Even the harrowing of hell was permitted but once. The devils have put their price on what they call my soul. Whatever value they accorded, they have done by their own logic and for their own purposes. And I am no closer to knowing if it is part of the divine plan. By all right, I should be awaiting my place in hell. Yet there my soul sits, bobbing in a bottle of common glass. My soul's restoration should be as miraculous as the resurrection, yet the manner of its return has been as of a late library book. I hope the contract would provide a revelation. I fear I've been waiting for someone else to make the decision for me and resolve my doubt. But I must return to the facts. I am an ordained vicar who has willingly given away his soul. By my creed I have failed. I should abandon my ministry. But then perhaps that does not matter. I stare the evidence in the face that the rules I have lived by no longer matter. And perhaps it is the absence of God entirely that I now shy away from. I cannot continue as though none of this happened. But I do not know how to go on. Am I a vicar who has damned himself? Or has all of my life until now been a lie? It's down to him now. I brought you your soul and your contract. I cannot tell you what to think too. A fair comment. Of the sort my old seminary teacher might have asked. A hard man from Leeds. To one who has faith, no explanation is necessary. To one without faith, no explanation is possible, Withenwick. Usually followed by a deftly hurled piece of chalk. But can it be so simple? I have what I sought. It has not given me the answers I hoped for. I must decide for myself what this means. I've indulged my doubt enough. By all rights I am damned, my soul condemned to hell. I cannot believe a God so cruel as to test me in this fashion, but I can believe in a God that is so absent. I have persevered in the parish, even soulless, and no one has noticed a deterioration. If anything, they have recognized an improvement in my ministry. Perhaps this was all a monstrous self-indulgence. I shall make up for it now, if so. If a city without a sun can still strive, then a priest without God can still minister to his flock. I'll put that wretched document in the fire. God knows what I'll do with the other thing. Now, I must return to my work. There are food carts to organize, and God help me, the flower arranging. Thank you for going to so much trouble for my sake. I shan't forget it. Another errand. So I think we'll actually leave it there. When we come back, we're going to go and do the trial. And we'll see if it goes any better this time. But I'm not sure how long that will take, so I'm just going to sort of allow myself to not feel rushed anyway, to bring the episode to a close. So I hope you did enjoy this penultimate episode of Mask of the Rose, the second playthrough, the Hates-Love playthrough. We've kind of achieved our goal of not getting particularly close to anyone. Absolutely no love here. No love to be found. But if you did enjoy this episode, please do give it a thumbs up. Click the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And yeah, subscribe as well if you're watching this and haven't done so before. It'd be great to have you around on Boring Dad Gaming. So thanks very much once again, and I hope to see you next time for the conclusion of Mask of the Rose. Bye for now.